IAS. From past 3-4 sessions we are discussing international organizations that you all know. Today we will discuss one important topic, that is Global South and Voice of Global South Summit. Okay, so before going into the summit details, how the summit is happening, we have to first of all we must know what is Global South. Okay, Global South refers to various countries often described as developing, less developed, underdeveloped. Means whatever LDCs, low development countries are there in the world, that all come into Global South. Why the South direction is given? Means lot of LDCs are in South only. In map, globe, in global map, if you see, all LDCs lies in South only. Okay, Southern Hemisphere only. Okay, the concept of Global South refers can be traced to Brand Report of 1980. Global South or South-South cooperation. So in Global South refers to broadly to regions of Latin America, means whatever the South America region is there. Okay, Asia, Africa, Oceania, means Australia. Regions outside Europe and North America, means in the world map you exclude North America and Europe, then all other countries are Global South. Okay, Global South LDCs. And examples of Global South countries include Brazil, Nigeria, Indonesia, which often face economic challenges and are considered to be part of developing world. Means they are just developing now, not fully developed. Not like developed countries like America or Europe. Okay, they are just developing countries and not yet developed. Okay. And developing countries are those where the HDI score will be more. Okay, like human development index value will be more, and standard of living of people will be more, and they have all facilities, all amenities without any taking any loan from world organizations. Means if they have to develop amenities for people, they need not to take any loan. Okay, that type of countries are called fully developed countries. So issues with this terminology. What is the problem with this terminology? Means geographically the division between global north and global south based on 30° north latitude is arbitrary and excludes countries like Australia, New Zealand and developed countries within global south. And even in south also, Australia and New Zealand are developed compared to other regions. But how they are terming as global south, that is the doubt here. Because of map also the confusion is coming. But the imaginary line in the world map, you can see here, all less developed countries will come into global south. Okay, and all more developed countries will come in global north. Okay, here you can see South America, Africa and Asia, half part is there. Okay, all these comes into global south. The term global south originated in 1969 during Vietnam War. Okay, the term is defined during Vietnam War to critique the unequal global order created by dominance of Northern Hemisphere over Southern Hemisphere. If you see in the world, whatever the world war is coming, that will be initiated from north only. Why? Because they are developed, they don't have any development tension, so they often go to war. Because they have war equipment, etc., money, people. So they often go into war with other countries, and even they are aggressive, powerful. Okay, economically the term is inconsistent as nations like China with a high per capita income categorized as part of global south. Even in China, people are having high per capita income, means income per person is high. Income per person is very high. Even though it is treated as LDC, a part of global south. Why? Because China population is very high. So even though China is developed, it is of no use with the population. That is the thing. So that's why it will come into global south only. Issues arise due to key allies of global north situated in southern hemisphere, which contradicts the categorization. Even some allies of global north situated in global south also creates confusion here with the terminology. Okay, what is the evolving meaning of global south? Means new terminology, term some leaders use an alternative to developing world. So global south is nothing but LDC, low development countries. Low income countries are developing but still not developed. They are just developing but still not developed. Like those countries are termed as global south. Okay, beyond economics, while the traditional labels focus on economic indicators, global south emphasizes culture and other differences. Even the global south refers to cultural differences also. Okay, for example, global south prioritizes sustainable living, ecological balance and universal health care. So, thus global south prioritizes very sustainable living and environment balance and at the same time health care. That's why also development is low. It become like LDC. Okay, they prioritize better lifestyle. That's why the country become like a LDC. Okay, cultural distinction. The difference between global south and global north is more about cultural aspects than just economic and development ones. Why? Because even though if you see in India only, if you take, for example, I am telling, in South India, women are very simple. They wear a sari. Simple. They wear a sari. In North India, people are advanced. They often follow Western lifestyle. So, a lady in North India always wear jeans, crop tops, etc. things. Okay, small frocks, they wear something. So, what happens even though a woman in South India is a crorepati, she is having crores. In crores, she is having money. But in North India, even middle class woman looks like a modern woman and she is dressed so well that she looks like a high class family. So with culture also we can distinguish the economic background of a person. So even though in South India a woman is very simple, even if she is rich, she looks simple outside. But in North India, if you take middle class women also looks so generous and so rich. That is cultural difference. Like that in global north also, what people do, they do polishing to things. They have good transport, good roads. In USA, if you see, okay, roads are so good, so nice, not unhygienic. There is dust thrown everywhere in India. It's not like that. So, even though they have low GDP, for example, I am telling low per capita income per head, means in USA, people, if you see, they can't afford a housemaid. They have to do all household chores. Okay, but to outside, the country looks so developed. So that is the thing. With culture also, development difference will come. Okay, so what is, so classification of countries, global north, global south is based on similarities in terms of wealth, indicators, education, healthcare, etc. Okay, Even though these terms can be differentiated based on each person wealth, how much wealth a person is having, means how many millionaires, billionaires are in India. Means in 100 crore it will be less only, even though we have 1 lakh millionaire billionaires all over India, compared to 140 crore population, it will become less. But if in USA, if you take, in USA, same 1 lakh millionaires, billionaires are there, but the population is low like 40 crores, then the percentage will grow. Okay, like that it happens. So, the global south term came from wealth also, indicators of education also, how much. If you do a master's in India, it is of no value. But if you do same master's in USA, in some great good university, then it will be given more priority and preference in MNC, corporate jobs. MNCs. Why? Because the quality of education is more there compared to India, and healthcare things also great. Means there they will get free healthcare, but quality healthcare. But in India, we do not get quality healthcare anywhere. Only rich people will go to good hospitals. There they will get quality healthcare. That is the difference. So, global north even not only lifestyle and cultural things, but according to development of a city, wealth of each person's healthcare and educational things also will be and based on these things also global south and global north is decided. Okay, global north refers to loosely to countries like USA, Canada, Europe, Russia, Australia. See, if you see an average Indian, he often dream of going to USA and Canada, because there he can earn a good package and he can get a lifestyle compared to India, that they think of. Okay, so New Zealand, while global south indicates Asia, Africa, South America. In Africa, if you see, they starve for food. People even don't have food. That's why they often go into other continents, countries, even to do very small jobs. Okay, so in recent years, some countries in global south such as India, China experienced significant economic growth. Challenging idea of north is the ideal. Even though despite of all these ideological differences, China and India has proved that in GDP they grown so well at par with developed countries. In USA, if you see, in USA people think only nice good roads will be there. Good roads will be there, and house to house heaters will be there in winters. Okay, but in India roads are ugly and heaters are optional. A person has to buy and keep at home heaters in winter. Okay, but we will have a maid whenever needed. Okay, on some price we can get a maid to do all our household chores. Even a cook, a caretaker for kids also we can get. But in USA it is very difficult to get a maid. It is highly cost also, high cost. And if you see in India, we can maintain a car. Wherever you go, if you step outside, you can get into the car. You travel like a rich person. Okay, but in other countries, if you take example Europe, they travel by train only. There is public transport only. They can't take maintaining a car is big thing there. Okay, so even though there are many differences, people luxury comfort, in that there are many differences. So the same difference happens with GDP. Okay, GDP, suppose you take in 2025, India GDP stood at 4 trillion. USA GDP stood at 30 trillion. So this may be 7.5 growth India has achieved. Okay, maybe India will be doing at par with USA in growth rate of 7.5%. But still India is underdeveloped. Why? Because population is high. Per capita per person is low here. But in USA, if you see, population is less. So even though they divide this 30 trillion by number of population, their per capita income will be more. That's why USA will be treated as a high developed or developed country compared to India. Even though these 30 trillion may not be a great achievement compared to previous value. Because it is just 29 trillion in 2024. Means how much you have grown in 1 year means just you have grown by 1 trillion. That's all. There is no much growth. But people will take it as development only. Okay. So the term Global South refers to countries and regions that are economically and socially less developed in comparison to more affluent and developed global north. The concept of means already I am telling you the same thing in GDP, per capita income, health, education, culture. In all these things, a country is decided whether it is developed or not. Okay, so Global South refer to countries and regions that are economically, socially less developed and compared to more affluent and developed global north. The concept of global north and global south is used to describe grouping of countries along socio-economic and political characteristics. Socio-economic considerations and political considerations also there. Global South consists of poorest and least industrialized. So they are more developed that they have more industries also. Okay, which is mainly in southern part of the world. So Global South and geoeconomics. Global South is actively pursuing geoeconomics. Fears of US strategy of freezing dollar reserves has made South cautious. So even the North is having dollar reserves that is making the South countries in a fear. Why? Because if your friend, a person A is there, B is there. So B is having more savings. Then automatically A will compare himself and feel insecure. That same thing is happening with countries also. Watching the developed countries reserves also, dollar reserves also, South countries are facing somewhat issue. Okay, the recent announcement by the US of its trade policies of reshoring, friend-shoring led to South to find ways of bypassing the dollar in bilateral trade by using local currencies. Even the South is trying to dominate dollar using local currencies, but it is often impossible. They often fight in bullion market every day, and they try to with US politics also. They try to lower dollar value. Then if dollar value come down, automatically other currencies will grow in international markets. So swap arrangements are used by China and Association of Southeast Asian Nations, 3 countries, India with Russia and 20 other countries. Even they make the swap arrangements also. Okay, in IMF, like international organizations, they try to make swap arrangements also. Okay. This is all about Global South. By this, I hope you clearly understand what is Global South means. Whatever the countries in southern hemisphere of globe, and they are LDCs, and in some parameters also they are backward in GDP, per capita income, okay, education, health, standard of living, in all these things also they are less. Like these countries except North America and Europe. Excluding these countries, all others will be termed as Global South. Despite Australia is developed and China is grown. China, India are grown, but they are not still considered as global north because they are having population problem, population issues. Okay, so this is all about global south, friends. Now we will discuss what is voice of global south summit. Whatever the LDCs are there, they all come together. All these LDCs come together and make a meeting or conference. This conference is named as Voice of Global South Summit. Okay, Voice of Global South Summit, that we will discuss.